commercial capital. This is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubara.
Good evening and welcome. Tonight, 9 people are shot dead in a controversial circumstances in an uncompleted building in Apo Legislators' quarters in Abuja. President Jonathan sacked 2 of his aides, Senator Joy Emodi and Dr. Lagunju, with immediate effect. The Directorate of Petroleum Resources warns oil marketers in the downstream sector to stop engaging in sharp practices or have their licenses revoked. And Syria submits chemical arms data to avoid U.S. military action.
On business news tonight, Royal Dutch Shell shuts its Trans-Niger pipeline days after it was reopened.
And in sports news, Nigeria's 2014 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Ethiopia gathers momentum as Super Eagles coach Stephen Kesha unveils his squad for the encounter.
Let's start with security issues tonight. Conflicting reports have continued to trail an attack by security operatives on an uncompleted building behind the Apo Legislative Quarters in Abuja in the early hours of today. And while a statement by the Department of State Security says that some suspected sect members were injured alongside 12 others, eyewitness accounts say about 8 people may have been killed. The DSS says violence erupted after the alleged sect members opened fire on a combined security team which had gone on an operation behind the Apo Legislative Quarters. A statement issued by the Deputy Director, Public Relations Department of the DSS, Marilyn Oga, says the operation was sequel to information obtained from 2 suspected Boko Haram members, that is, Kamal Abdullahi and Muhammad Adamu, who had earlier been arrested for terrorist activities.
This is the uncompleted building in the Apo Legislators' quarters here in Abuja, where 9 persons were shot dead early Friday morning in what security operatives say was a crossfire between them and suspected members of the Boko Haram sect. The twin duplex with 6 rooms each, which is located at Bamanga Tukur Close, provide refuge to close to 100 people who residents described as artisans, laborers and tricycle riders, also known as the Keke Napep. The spokeswoman for the State Security Service, who conducted journalists around the building amidst tight security, said their men were led there by 2 members of the Boko Haram sect earlier arrested and who said arms were hidden in the building premises.
Arms were buried underground at this site. And so a joint security team had to proceed to recover the arms. So when they got here, they came under attack. And of course, they had to respond back.
But according to some residents in the area, most of the occupants of the uncompleted building had lived there for over 2 years in an informal arrangement where they paid the security guard 200 naira weekly. They said the man thought to be the owner of the house was there on Wednesday to give them a quit notice.
Early this morning, one of my KK members called me and said, "Am I aware of what is happening, that 9 of our boys have been killed by soldiers in Apo Zone E, Legislative Quarters?" I said, "What? What happened?" He now told me that the boys were sleeping there because we were homeless, that they work in Apo jurisdiction here.
While there are conflicting accounts of the incident, 9 persons have been confirmed dead. 12 are receiving treatment at the Asokoro District Hospital, while some 28 men are allegedly being questioned by the State Security Service. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
Also discuss further what happened in Apo early this morning. I'm being joined on the news at 10 by Mr. Osaho Iheye. He's a human rights activist as well as a legal practitioner. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Thank you.
What do you make of the DSS intelligence in this matter? Does it look like enough investigation was done before coming in to a situation like that?
I must say to you that nothing justifies the killing of people without investigating. Even if the SSS or DSS received information that these people were criminals, the proper thing to do is to first investigate the incident before going in. Our security agents should learn to first investigate, not to even first arrest before investigating. This one is even worse. What they did is to kill before investigating. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but would you really blame them, really? Because given previous circumstances, they've also lost people in situations like this.
Even if they have lost people, well, we sympathize with them, but they should only shoot under extreme circumstances, with extreme self-defense. In the instance where probably when they go into go for such operation, people now shoot first, then you can now retaliate. You can then retaliate, then you will be justified. Nothing really justifies you to go into an area like this and just start shooting. Even if after killing these 9 people, it is found out that they even still have weapons in there, that still does not justify doing that. Because the proper thing to have done is, because how would you be sure that these 9 people were the people who kept those the weapons, or who are going to carry out some dastardly acts later?
Yeah, but if you listened to the Public Relations Deputy Director, Ms. Marilyn Olga, in that report, that she said that they came under attack and they had to respond.
That's what I said. If it is true that they came under attack and they were acting in self-defense, fine. Because I want to say something. You see, even if the police, the SSS, the army, even if they were working 48 hours a day on security issues, they will not catch all the prisoners. They will not catch all the criminals that they are looking out for. That is the more reason why you should be careful when you go into this kind of environment. You must first investigate, even if you receive information from wherever, from beer parlor, from informants and the rest of it. You must investigate, because there's an age-old principle of English jurisprudence that says that it is better for 1 million criminals to escape the long arm of the law than for one punished unjustly. This, underscores what we're trying to talk about. If you go in there after proper investigation, arrest the proper people, hand them over to the law, let them be tried, then they can then be, whatever sentence can then be carried out.
Well, I want to believe that there will be investigations into this particular matter, but what happens, for the families of those who have lost people in this circumstance?
If it is found,
what can they do?
If it is true that some of them have been killed unjustly, in fact, nothing justifies this kind of killing. If it is found that this has been done, I think the members of the family can, the next of kin and relations can take up the government on this. They can go to court and get redress.
Mr. Haya, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, in the meantime, troops have been deployed to the border communities and troubled spots in Nasarawa State following the death of 31 persons in last week's violent attack by suspected members of the Ombase militia group. The State Governor, Mr. Tanko Almakura, said the measure became necessary to forestall any breakdown of law and order in the area.
This is what is left of Asakio community in Lafia East development area of Nasarawa State following violence by suspected members of the Ombase militia group. Asakio is worst hit by violence, and thousands of internally displaced persons from the community are now taking refuge in Namu, a nearby community in Kwampan local government area of Plateau State. The state government promised to resettle them as soon as possible.
We are also taking stock of the houses that have been destroyed, and government will take it as its own responsibility to provide logistic and support financially to each and every household that has been affected by this destruction.
Other communities affected are Obi and Tudun Nodobu, both in Obi local government area. The Emir's Palace in Obi community was razed down alongside several houses. The victims narrate their ordeal.
We are informed that the Ombase militant group are coming with arms in a bus. So they came, the police were informed, the security agent and other security operatives were informed. Before they could come, they all ran away into the bush. 2 of them were caught. And because of that, they ambushed the road, the Tudun Adabu, a road through Obi Kiana axis, and they caught 2 of our people. That was how it all started.
When everybody is preparing to go to his normal place of duty, just on sudden we start hearing gunshot all over. We are all confused. Children, all people you are seeing here, nobody took out his property, even a single one.
The state government hopes that the huge presence of security operatives in the state will offer some respite for residents of the affected community.
Staying with security matters, a dusk to dawn curfew has been imposed on Kafanchan, the headquarters of Jema local government area of Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria, following the violence that broke out in the early hours of yesterday between Fulanis and indigents of the community. The latest crisis, according to eyewitnesses, was a spillover of last Sunday's violence that erupted after a middle-aged man was killed by suspected gunmen in the town. Some residents told Channels Television that the crisis was triggered by yesterday's protest by Fulanis alleging the killing of their kinsmen. This prompted the chairman of the council, Daniel Amos, to impose a curfew there. Confirming the incident to Channels Television, the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olufemi Adenaike, said the restriction of movements was to ensure that the crisis does not spill over to other parts of the state. He added that policemen and soldiers have been drafted to the area to keep the peace. And in part 2 after the break, some South and Southeast leaders back 2015 presidential agenda for President Goodluck Jonathan. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.